Hello, I'm at a testing conference in Ann Arbor with the Michigan Department of Education. Interestingly enough, one of the key indicators in being successful in college is attendance. So thank you for not coming to class, actually, but listening to this lecture. And just please remember that attending class is very important, as well as doing your assignments, your blog, and your quiz. So I see sometimes that people are not doing all those things. Here's the thing, I can't learn you. You have to be responsible for that. So doing those three things is going to pretty much guarantee you a passing grade in this course. So I just want to remind you of that. Every week it seems like some of you do one thing or the other, but not all of them. So those of you that have been doing all three every week, congratulations. Good job. Also, I did want to let you know that this week, the assignment portion, when you open it up, it's going to say to just think about what you want your research project to be at the end of the semester. So really, there's nothing to turn in, although there is a space there that says your assignment, because I want you to continue to be in the practice of opening that up. So this week, you looked at chapter 5, and this is the research model that we're going to be using. So I am absolutely going to be looking at the end of the semester to see if you followed this research model. Your topic is up to you. So whatever topic you would like to choose, whatever sort of social problem or any of the things that we've been talking about, such as race or gender or developing theories, any of those things are absolutely, and you can look through the book and find many, many more topics that you might be interested in. So the very first thing you have to do, you can see in this research model, is to select a topic. And I want you to think about this week, because next week when I meet with you, hopefully it won't be a snow day. When I meet you, we're going to talk about, and I'm going to ask you, where kind of are you leaning? And then to help you formulate it into a problem. So to define the problem is number 2. You probably might, and a lot of people need help with that. The third step is to review the literature. That's fairly easy. We have a lot of access through the internet to research out there, so you're going to be doing some of that. Formulating a hypothesis is the 4th. So what do you think you'll find out once you're done with your research? And whatever you're going to do, whatever research method you're going to use, what do you think you're going to find out? So you're going to formulate that hypothesis. And then the 5th step is to choose a research model or a research method. This is very important, but it depends. I can't tell you which research method to choose until I know what your topic and your problem is, because some topics lend themselves very easily to just observing behavior. So you might do participant observation. You might include yourself in the observation. You might just observe separately. Some things lend themselves very well to that. Others lend themselves to a survey. Surveys are very difficult. If you read in the book about surveys, you know, and maybe you've taken a survey before, where people have asked you a question and you weren't really sure what they were getting at. You didn't know how to answer it. Your options, yes or no, didn't seem adequate. You wanted to say maybe. So formulating a survey question is difficult, and I'd love to help you with that. One of the things you may find out when you do a survey is that, oh, I wish I had done it this way, or I wish I had done it that way. This is a beginning sociology class, and so what I really want you to do is to learn to use this research model. And if you make a mistake or you do something that you feel like, oh, I wish I had done something differently, then you've learned for your next time. So share that with us. We want to know about any problems that you had in your end project, I guess. So we want to hear about it. We want to learn from you, and I definitely want you to learn. Some things are strictly, you can't really do a survey, you can't really observe. Maybe you're going to look at, one person I know did a really interesting research project based on the wedding ceremonies, how people behave during, or what kind of wedding traditions they have around the world in different cultures. And that was really interesting, but she did not travel around the world. She did not survey people of all different cultures. What she did was strictly a research project. So she researched all of that information and then put that together into a project. Number 6 is to collect the data. So collecting data can be tricky also, especially if you're doing some sort of observation where you want to observe how did someone react? Were they happy? Were they sad? So those things are hard to gauge. You need to set a measure. How am I going to determine whether someone was happy or sad, whether that was their reaction? Another thing that often gets us in trouble is researchers in trouble is they want to observe to see if there's a difference in the way a certain age group responds. So if you're just standing back and observing, it might be difficult for you to tell what age someone is. So I think we've talked a little bit about that. So those kinds of things we'll have to look at as we set up your project. Number 7 is probably the most important. You're going to analyze the results to see and compare them against your hypothesis to see if your hypothesis really did pan out. So we're going to that will be what you'll be presenting as the project, and then you're going to analyze the results and share them with us, which is number 8. So you're going to share the results with us in some sort of a presentation. People often ask, does it have to be a PowerPoint? Does it have to be so long? Does it have to be, do I have to cite all of my research? All of those things. And the answer to that is it depends. It depends on if you would like to include this, your project. Some of you are on EN 112, I believe it's 112, the research one anyway, class with Aldeco. If you're in that course and want to do your research project for both this class and her, you could combine those 2 projects into one, turn them in both places, so kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone, I guess. But she will have a lot of rules about citing your sources and all that kind of thing. So yes, definitely. If it's just for this class, we want to hear about your sources. You do not have to turn in a written paper. So I want to be able to, you need to show evidence that you did do research, whether you do that by talking to us in a verbal presentation or you give us copies of all your research is up to you. But you're going to be asked to give a 5 to 10 minute presentation up front telling us about your project. You can use a PowerPoint if you'd like. It can be a full-on 20 page PowerPoint if you'd like, 20 slides, I guess. Or it can just be one. The main one that I really need to see, that we need to see, is your data. It's really difficult to talk about data without having some way to show it. So you could make a poster, you could put it on a PowerPoint slide, whatever data you collect, though, you need to visually represent that to us. Then lastly, after you share the results, you're going to talk to us more about where could your research continue. And you'll see on this circle of the research model, it says after 8, the arrows kind of lead to stimulates more ideas for research. I want you to think about how could you have expanded on this project that you do? How could you make it bigger? How might it maybe go into another direction, but how might it lead you in that other direction? So give us an idea of where else this research could go and who would be interested in the kind of research. And lastly, I think we've already talked about what kinds of things you learned, maybe through mistakes or maybe just through the project itself, what kinds of things you learned from doing the project. So this week, that's what you're going to do. You're going to be thinking about a topic. That will be when you come in the door on next Wednesday. I don't know the date. When you come in the door, that's going to be what you're going to write down as your sort of entrance into the door is, what am I thinking about? If you need some help thinking about topics, your book is a good source. Also on the Moodle page this week, I have a couple of websites where you can that give you ideas for projects, so you could go look at those. Let's see, what else do we have on there? The blog this week is about groupthink, which is your next chapter. And because we're not really going to I'm not going to see you face to face, I did put I think it says blog help. It's entitled blog help. So if you are struggling with the reading through in the book, the information about groupthink, there's also a video there where someone else does some explaining of groupthink, because your question is to describe a time when you've seen groupthink at work. So I don't mean at work like where you work, I mean in process. So that's your question, and you might pay special attention to the groupthink portion in your book, as well as listening to that video. I think that's all I have for you today. I won't be back in town until Friday. And so if you want to come and see me about your project, probably Mondays would be good, Monday or Tuesday, if you want to come see me before class. Otherwise, I do get my Moodle messages and, of course, my email. So you're welcome to send me your questions. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone, and I'll see you next Wednesday.